Hello would-be librarians, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we will continue our discussion of the UGC NET June 2025 Library Science paper. In this video, we will be covering question number 41 to 45 with detailed explanation in simple and clear language. If you haven't watched my previous videos, do check them out. Links are given in the description box below. So let's begin. So here is question number 41. This question asks us to arrange the steps of the 8Ws literacy model in the correct order. The correct answer is option number 3, that is watching, webbing, wiggling, weaving and waving. Let's understand this model step by step. Watching means exploring your surroundings and becoming an observer, noticing things happening around you. Wondering is when you start questioning and brainstorming ideas. Webbing is searching, finding, and connecting information. Wiggling means evaluating the information, checking what's useful and what's not. Weaving is about organizing your ideas and making sense of them. Wrapping is creating, packaging your ideas to share. Waving means communicating or presenting your work to others. Wishing is assessing or reflecting on what you have learned. So remember, it's like a complete learning cycle from exploring to reflecting. This model helps students develop strong information literacy skills. The term information literacy was coined by Paul Zurkowski in 1974 during his presidency at the Information Industry Association. For your further reference, key literacy models and their timelines are given below. Question number 42 asks for the correct order of applying POPSI steps. The right sequence is analysis, formalization, modulation, standardization, and preparation of EOC. Let's now understand a very important indexing system, that is POPSI. This concept often appears in UGC NET Library Science exams, so let's go through it carefully. The full form of POPSI is Postulate Based Permuted Subject Indexing. This system was developed to overcome the weakness of chain indexing. In chain indexing, the main problem was that it depended too much on a classification scheme, and sometimes the chain of subjects disappeared or became incomplete. To solve this problem, Ganesh Bhattacharya, an information scientist at DRTC, that is Documentation Research and Training Center in Bangalore, developed POPSI. POPSI was developed to make indexing more systematic and independent of any one classification scheme. That means POPSI can be used even if you are not following colon classification or Dewey. It's flexible and logical. The core components of POPSI include postulates. POPSI is based on principles from the general theory of subject indexing, particularly S. Ranganathan's postulates. Another core component of POPSI is elementary categories. These are the building blocks used to analyze the subject of a document, which include discipline, entity, action, property, and modifier. Discipline is the field of study, such as physics or chemistry. Entity is the main subject, which can be concrete or conceptual, like plant or energy. Action are concepts of doing, such as migration or treatment. Property includes attributes or qualities like power or capacity. Modifier is a term that qualifies another category without changing its core meaning. Another core component of POPSI is syntax, which is a set of rules that dictates how the elementary categories are combined to form a subject statement, ensuring context and relationships are clear. Now let's look at the steps or stages used in POPSI. There are 8 major steps in this system. First is analysis, second is formalization, third is modulation, fourth is standardization, fifth is preparation of entry for organizing classification, sixth is decision about terms of approach, seventh is preparation of entries for associative classification, and last is alphabetization. In the first step of analysis, we carefully analyze the title or subject of the document to identify the main concepts and their relationships. For example, if the title is Chemical Treatment of Tuberculosis of Lungs, we find the main ideas, that is, medicine, lungs, tuberculosis, and chemical treatment. In the second step of formalization, we arrange those concepts in a logical order according to their relationships. For example, from general to specific, that is, from medicine to lungs, lungs to tuberculosis, tuberculosis to chemical treatment. Step 3 Modulation adds clarity or modifies the terms to make their meaning more precise. For instance, lungs may be clarified as human respiratory system. In the next stage, that is standardization, we make sure to use standard vocabulary, meaning we use controlled terms and avoid synonyms or variations. For example, instead of chemical treatment, we use the standard term chemotherapy. In step 5, that is preparation of entry for organizing classification, here we assign proper notations to the subject terms using the POPSI tables. This helps in generating a consistent and systematic index entry. In step 6, that is decision about terms of approach, in this step we decide which terms will act as entry points in the index. For example, lungs, tuberculosis, and chemotherapy can all be used as approach terms. In step 7, that is preparation of entries for associative classification, here we actually prepare index entries for each term of approach, showing their connections and references to related subjects. Finally, all the entries are arranged alphabetically in step 8, that is alphabetization, so users can easily locate the subject terms in the index. So to summarize, POPSI made indexing scientific, logical, and independent of traditional classification schemes. It is a major contribution by Ganesh Bhattacharya and a proud development from India's DRTC Bangalore. If you find POPSI a little confusing at first, don't worry. Just remember the 8 steps, that is analysis, formalization, modulation, standardization, preparation of EOC, decision about terms of approach, preparation of EAC, and alphabetization. This question has been asked several times in UGC NET exams, so make sure you note it down and revise regularly. In question number 43, we need to arrange the areas of access points in the correct ISBD sequence. The right answer is option number 4, that is title, edition, material details, publication, and notes. ISBD, that is International Standard Bibliographic Description, is a set of rules produced by IFLA, that is International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions, to create a bibliographic description in a standard human readable form, especially for use in a bibliography or library catalog. Its main purpose is to make cataloging rules the same everywhere so libraries around the world can easily share and exchange bibliographic records. It serves two distinct functions: to define the selection and order of data elements to be recorded, and to prescribe punctuation to be used inside a bibliographic description. ISBD is divided into 8 areas of description. First is title and statement of responsibility. Second is edition. Third is material specific details. Fourth is publication or distribution. fifth is physical description, sixth series, seventh notes, and eighth is resource identifier and terms of availability. So in simple words, ISBD tells us how to write catalog entries in the same order everywhere to maintain consistency across libraries. Question number 44 asks us to arrange the following open access initiatives according to the year of their adoption at international level. The correct answer is option number 2. According to this, SPARC, that is Scholarly Publishing and Academic Resources Coalition, was declared initially. After that, Budapest Open Access Initiatives was declared. After that, Berlin Declaration was adopted. Then the Coalition of Open Access Policy Institutions was declared. And the last is Scottish Open Education Declaration. Let's quickly understand these. First is SPARC. SPARC stands for Scholarly Publishing and Academic Resources Coalition. It was started in 1998, promoting open access publishing. Second is Budapest Open Access Initiative. It was started in 2002 and was the first to formally define open access. Third is Berlin Declaration. It was started in 2003, emphasized open access to knowledge in sciences and humanities. Fourth is COAPI, Coalition of Open Access Policy Institutions, came in 2011, helping universities implement open access policies. Last is Scottish Open Education Declaration. It is a recent initiative focusing on open education resources. So remember, these movements aim to make research freely available to everyone. Our last question is based on phases of disaster planning according to IFLA. This question asks for the correct sequence of disaster planning phases as per IFLA. The correct order is prevention, then mitigation, after that preparedness, then response, and then recovery. Correct answer is option number 2. Let's make it easy to remember. First is prevention, which means identify risks like fire or flood and try to avoid them. Second step is mitigation, which means take steps to reduce possible damage. Third is preparedness, which means make a disaster plan, train staff, and prepare for emergencies. Fourth is response, which means take action during the disaster. Fifth is recovery, which means restore and repair after the disaster. So it starts with being proactive and ends with restoring everything back to normal. That's all for today's video. I hope this detailed explanation helped you understand the concepts better. If you found this video useful, please like, share and subscribe to the channel for more UGC NET Library Science updates. See you in the next video. Till then, keep learning and keep growing. Bye bye.